throw this. Alright, let's throw this. Time to feed these hungry gamers. Right. Feed them. They need news. Time to feed them. Hello people. Good mornings, good afternoon. Another beautiful day. Yup. Hope your five senses work. Health and strength is good. Or excellent. What? What's up, gamers? I was outside feeding a German Shepherd, my next door neighbors, feeding a squirrel and a blue jay. Yeah. My next door neighbor's German Shepherd always come up to the fence barking at me. So I start giving him some milk bones. We became good friends. And then one day he got out. I was sitting outside. I was on my cell phone, and then one day he got out. He came around the block, and came straight up to me. Yeah, came inside, eat all the cat food, and he was here for for about a good minute. And I took him back. Now that's not a squirrel now. I was taking the garbage out, so he come down like about a foot away from me, and he'd be like this, looking at me. And I'm like, all right, I'll go give him some walnuts. So I had to go to the grocery store and buy some walnuts, and I put it on the fence. And he can eat. The squirrel can eat. While he was sitting there eating, the blue jay came down and took about 3 of them and took off. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Feeding a German Shepherd, squirrel, blue jay, and then I got 3 raccoons that always come by the house. So yeah, that's my life. Anyway, what I got for you guys anyway, as far as gaming is concerned. Because like when I leave the cat food outside, or the raccoons, they come by, like 4 of them. They always eating. And when they eat, they eat. Yeah. So that's my life. Let's see what I got. Talking about this Star Wars stuff. Speaking of which, let's talk Star Wars here since we're at it. Let's see here. Where is it? Where's this article at? Star Wars. Star Wars. Where are you? Star Wars. Come out. Wherever you are. Star Wars. All right. Because it's the Embracer Group, but this has everything to do with EA though. People are talking about the Embracer Group this, Embracer Group that. But this is all about EA. They had the Star Wars license, and what it means is that no other game studios can create Star Wars games. So every Star Wars games, just like the NFL license, EA is responsible. And then EA made a left turn, and then they went and create some loot boxes, but they could have stopped themselves and probably told Disney, like, look, we messed up a little bit. We won't do this no more. We won't do this again. This was a mistake. This was a little trial and error. But they took it even a step further. They wanted to challenge the European Union, and that's when Disney stepped in. So when I saw the article from on Tweaktown, what's up Tweaktown, about the Embracer Group and Knights of the Old Republic not being made, this has everything to do with EA, because EA they had the Star Wars license, and what it means is that no other studios can make Star Wars games. So think of it, they made the Battlefront 1, Battlefront 2, Squadrons, Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, but they also could have made TIE Fighters, X-Wing vs. TIE Fighters, Dark Forces, a remaster, Rebel Assault, what's that? Shadows of the Empire, probably a remaster of Rogue Squadron. Yeah, they were responsible for all that Star Wars. Far as Ubisoft is concerned, when it comes to Star Wars, if EA never lose that privilege that they had, Ubisoft could never make a Star Wars game ever. Okay, that's the position EA was in, because EA was riding high because they had Anthem, they had Battlefield, and they had Titanfall to deal with, plus the Madden and sports games. They were on a cloud, so when they had that license, they were riding high, man. So when they made that key mistake, man, and instead of stopping and catching themselves, they kept going with it. So it's like, okay, Disney stepped in, like, okay, we got to discipline you on this, like, and they took the Star Wars license away from them. So that's how Ubisoft tried to make a Star Wars game. They claim that they got a Star Wars game that's supposed to be better than EA's game, but that Star Wars was all about feminism, and it died down quick because there were a few people on YouTube that tried to cover. They were covering it, but all of a sudden the flames and the smoke just went out. It just died down. So yeah, because that Star Wars was sending the wrong message. That when you saw the front cover of it, it was sending the wrong message. If you look at anything that got to deal with Star Wars, you always have the Force and the dark side on the front cover. Not to remove that, and then you're gonna put a woman, and then she's flexing her muscles, and then she got a so-called male robot that's supposed to be a man, so to speak. No, that ain't gonna fly. So that died down pretty quick. Yeah, a lot of Star Wars fans didn't like it. Okay, a lot of them didn't. See if I can get this here. Whoops, get this out of here. See if I can get this out of there. Here, close that down. Close that down. A lot of people didn't. What am I doing on Eurogamer, by the way? Not Eurogamer, not you. Anyway, a lot of Star Wars games. The Star Wars game that Ubisoft was making, it was sending the wrong message, and a lot of people didn't like that. So the flames for that died down quick, because when you think about a Star Wars game, it's like, it's like family orientated. So to go against that and say you're gonna come out with a game based that's feminism based, you're like, nah, it's not gonna fly. So yeah, but seriously though, EA was responsible. EA was responsible for the entire Star Wars thing. Once Disney gave them that right, no other game studios can make Star Wars game. And they were supposed to be focusing on bringing those games out because they were in a cloud by themselves, man. Yeah, EA. But anyway, listen to this. It says here, what's up, Tweet Dump? Says, listen to this. It says, after massive layoffs, Embracer Group refused to provide an update on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. It says here, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, or Kotor, is being remade. However, the project falls under Embracer Group banner, and says here, Embracer Group latest second quarter report has given us some insight on the struggling mega game publisher, with news that 904 workers have been let go since the company began restructuring. Also, the company is looking to reduce costs with more cancellation of the game currently in development. As of September 2023, Embracer was overseeing as many as 200 game development projects. It says here, one of the Embracer more high-profile game currently in development is in full remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, one of the most beloved RPGs of all time. This one has the backing of Sony too. See, once EA got that Star Wars license, Sony wouldn't be involved with it, if you get the point. But anyway, it says here, 2 and will supposedly be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. However, with the games apparently in development hell, it says with Saber Interactive taking over from the original studio, Aspire, and Sony subsequently removing trailers for the game in reference to its various channels, it might not see the light of day. Then it says Saber. Anyway, it says, to make matters worse, as a part of Embracer Group's second quarter calls earning, someone asked CEO Lars Wingfour about the game's status, and his response was little concerning. I noticed that anything I say to this becomes headlines. Larry Wingfour responded when asked about our Kotor remake, so that is my only comment. It's kind of funny because no news is still news when it comes to something like Kotor remake, which, if done right, could be one of the best Star Wars games of all time. Even just in it's still being worked on and progress is good, would have sufficed. And then it says here, it's been a while since we heard anything about the project with Embracer Group. Not back in May, nothing back in May. That still exists. However, in the light of recent news surrounding trouble at the company, mass layoff and studio closures, the next bit of news we receive could be about the game and project being canceled. Then it says the Kotor remake was announced at a PlayStation Showcase event with a teaser trailer in 2022. Bloomberg report indicates that the game was put on hold due to Sony and Lucasfilm being unhappy about the quality and progress of the project. In the subsequent months, it was revealed that Saber Interactive had taken the development reins. It's a shame because, like many out there, I feel that Knights of the Old Republic is a game that should have been revisited. If it's quite not a remake, it could also work as a new trilogy of films or prestige TV series. But this now goes all the way back now to EA and the position they were in. They had the rights to Star Wars. Embracer Group, Embracer Group and Sony couldn't touch Star Wars. EA would be in constant communication with Lucasfilms, but EA now was in full control of the Star Wars rights. It's just like the NFL license rights that they have. So once they made that U-turn, that they went left, and then created loot box in Battlefront 2, and they should have stopped themselves right there and say, like, you know what, we don't want to go down this rabbit hole. But they went down that rabbit hole, and then it went over to the European Union in the UK, yeah, and the European Union had to put their foot down. So yeah, and that's when Disney stepped in and took the license from the rights from them. So ever since then, now Ubisoft come out talking about they got a better Star Wars game, and then their Star Wars games was more feminism driven base, and the smoke on that died down quick. Smoke, fire, blaze died quick. Sony, they wouldn't be able to touch Star Wars once EA got the rights. That's the power EA had. Once Disney gave them that privilege, they were in a privileged position, and yeah, you know the outcome. So Knights of the Old Republic right now is in limbo. If EA would have just stayed focused, Knights of the Old Republic would have gotten a remaster, remake, Shadows of the Empire, Rogue Squadron, even Pod Race. What's the other one? Dark Forces, Rebel Assault 2, the Star Wars games that were on the even the Star Wars games that were on the Super Nintendo, those could have gotten remade. Um, every Star Wars game that you could think of, that was on the Super Nintendo, Genesis, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, I think Sega Saturn, Nintendo 64, original Xbox, 360, PS3. They all could have gotten remade, get a remastered, because of the position EA was in. EA, when they got the privilege and the power to produce Star Wars games, that means that would have stopped. It would have stopped every developer that's trying to make Star Wars, and the Star Wars games wouldn't be in limbo. Okay, so when they came, they were trying to blame 343 for the Star Wars. They were trying to blame 343 for their problems, but 343 was never the problem, because you remember when 343 came out with Halo Infinite, the fans didn't like it. They said they could do better, so 343 343 Studios took it back to the drawing board and fixed it up. But then EA now, since they were coming back from the European loot box controversy, they were trying to use Battlefield 2024 to like get some momentum back, so to speak. And if you look at the demo, if you look at the trailer for Battlefield 2024, it was kind of off. It wasn't like the Battlefield before. So EA was trying to get some momentum back. But 343 now saw what EA was doing, and then 343 cut them off and dropped Halo Infinite. I think it was last year or the year before. And Halo Infinite the multiplayer of Halo Infinite came out on the Thanksgiving weekend. On the Thanksgiving week, they dropped it like on the 17th of November, somewhere around there. So yeah, but EA was trying to blame 343 for their problem, but the problem wasn't 343. The problem stemmed from the fact that EA created loot boxes, and they didn't stop themselves from going down that road. They went down that road, and it led to a whole bunch of problems. So Disney stepped in now and took the Star Wars license away from them. Then all of a sudden Ubisoft now comes into the picture, talking about they got a better Star Wars, and that's not even true. And then you have Sony now talking about they trying to get Knights of the Old Republic, a PlayStation exclusive. All this whole Star Wars situation stemmed from the fact that EA created this problem. Their goal was to protect the Star Wars rights from all publishers. They were responsible, just like the NFL license. They were responsible for that. Okay, it doesn't. They could come out with all kind of. As long as they have the license and the right, like the NFL license, they can make as much Star Wars as they want. Knights of the Old Republic would have got made already, but EA, man, made a costly mistake, and yeah, now we're seeing the outcomes of it. So yeah, they were responsible, man. I mean, to be in a position like that, you got Disney, was it George Lucas, sold Star Wars for like some billions of dollars, and I think he should have never done it. But anyway, but Disney now, they own Star Wars, but Disney now trusted EA that EA was going to take care of it, and that's all EA had to do. These games that people want to play right now, like a remaster or remake, This is not about the Embracer Group. The Embracer Group ain't even a factor. This all stems from the fact that EA went and created loot boxes, and yeah, you're seeing the outcome of it. So all this talk about Sony and it would have been a PlayStation 5 exclusive means nothing. This all goes back now to EA because of the position they were in. Okay, so yeah, and this is the outcome. So yeah, EA supposed to be making a new Jedi, the Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. It's supposed to be a trilogy, but one of the developers, I think they left, if I'm from a story that I've seen. So I think they're still trying to put that game together. So yeah. But when it comes to this whole Star Wars situation, man, this all goes back to EA. I mean, look at EA with the NFL license. They make a little mistake here and there, but they're still making Madden games. Madden games are making them making the NFL and EA money. So yeah, EA lost that when they lost that Star Wars license, man. I knew there was going to be some problems, some games not being made, some games being delayed, or yeah. And this is the outcome of it. So yeah, this all goes back to EA, man. This ain't got nothing to do with the Embracer Group. Don't let that title fool you. Don't let Embracer Group nothing, Sony nothing. This all goes back to EA because Disney is in charge, and then Disney said, okay, we're gonna give you the Star Wars license, knowing we can trust you with this. You must protect this at all costs. Once they went and did what they did, Disney is like, okay, you're not responsible. They took it back. Okay, that's why you see Ubisoft and Sony name being mentioned, but they're not even a factor. This all goes back to Electronic Art. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Or Dark Side. Go. Peace.